Massey and I are both pastors, and Easter is one of those things that reminds you of the light of Christ. Everything falls flat in the Christian faith if Christ doesn't rise. But the fact that Christ rose proves to you that everything he said before that is true. And I had a thought when I was writing this whole podcast. I was like, man, do I go into this completely of like all of the evidence that proves that Christ actually rose? And I tossed and was like, man, what I think is very important as well is what we're going to cover today. And I figure go on Sunday, wherever your church is, and get that Easter download, that refreshment of Easter. And what we're going to talk about today is a sense of rebirth, a sense of new life. We're going to discuss the darkness first, because guess what? There was darkness before the resurrection. The total darkness, you look at the apostles. Okay, that's it. I'm going on it for a couple of minutes. You look at the apostles before the resurrection. The apostles were scattered. They were oppressed. They were giving up. They were going, well, that's fine. They even returned to their old jobs. If you notice, the ones who were fishermen went back to going fishing. They were not out proselytizing. They were not out being disciples, apostles. They were out fishing. If you had been part of a movement that for 3 years you were active completely, you were out there in all things, you were doing it, you were fully committed, and then all of a sudden your leader gets arrested and executed in front of you, and there's no resolution, there's no beauty to it. It's just, oh, he's gone. I thought he was the new leader of Israel. I thought he was the king. I thought he was going to usher in the new kingdom of Israel. What would you do if all that fell flat? If your leader was done with? You'd probably go and slink back to your old job and hope nobody noticed. So yeah, there's something part of my past, But then Resurrection Sunday comes. Christ rises. Everything they paid for, all the sacrifice, the scorn, the issues, the problems, the mocking and ridicule, all of it was worth it. And you have 12 men who were all willing to die on the information and testimony that they had. And you talk to seasoned lawyers and say, okay, I want to give you just a scenario. You have 12 men who are put on trial with most likely outcome execution, and they have to defend a lie. How many of those men will actually go to execution for that lie? And all of those lawyers will tell you they won't do it. They will recant. How many people will recant on the truth in order to save their own skin? Yet you have 100% outcome. 100%. Nobody recants. All 12 go, nah, you can kill me. Because I saw what I saw. I know what I know. I have testimony to what I have testimony. Go ahead, off me. I don't care. That just gets into a sliver of the taste of the truth of the resurrection. And the beauty of the resurrection is it is a promise to you of everything God can do. And I'm preaching here because you need to know God can transform you. And the resurrection is proof that God has power and authority over even death itself. Death is the ultimate for us. If you notice, people who are not believers, the biggest fear is death. That's why COVID was such a problem, was death. Death was the ultimate problem of COVID because everybody said we have to save people from dying. If you accept Christ and you're walking in Christ, all of a sudden death is just a minor footnote. Well, yeah, that's one more step, but that's okay. I'll keep going. And so I say this to you because there's such transformational release when you accept Christ and walk with Christ. Because all of a sudden you're free to do what you've been asked to do, and death is not the concern or worry. But if you don't have Christ, death is the biggest worry you have because you have no clue, no assurance, no understanding, no safety. And you have to figure out what you're going to do in this short time span. Honestly, if I weren't a Christian, I would be a complete nihilist. That would be easier. No, whatever. No consequence, no issue. Just do whatever I want to do because, man, I'm going to die and I don't know what's going to happen. So I'll just get the most out of this short little span. There's no meaning. And so I urge you, seek Christ. Die to yourself and live in more abundance than you've ever thought possible.